Welcome back to another RFP Rapid Fire podcast. I'm Mac Hutchinson. Of course, we have Sabi Ghosh and Pankaj Jain over there in Pune, India. I've got, of course, a good friend, Jerry Keogh from New York, and Gerard McCabe, who's in Miami right now. Thank you all for joining. Guys, I wanted to start this discussion because I had a great conversation with our colleague Steve Lauer the other day, who's a really valuable consultant when it comes to LPOs. And he had this great article. You can go on skjjurist.com, go to the articles link, and you'll see his latest article that talks about the value of the LPO and how you're able to keep and maintain control. This is a super valuable conversation that we have. We really unpack, of course, the value of the LPO right now is because there's massive legal costs right now. The rising cost of legal fees, especially in the United States, it continues to grow, and it's very difficult to manage. Whether you're an individual or a firm or a business or a large business, this is something that you have to constantly deal with. So this conversation I think is super important because it not only shows you how valuable and how much cost saving measures an LPO can create, but it also shows how are able to keep that control in house by building out your LPO. So, Gerard McCabe, I wanted to kind of start the conversation with you because this is something that obviously you and Jerry are very familiar with, having a partnership with your own LPO with SKJ Juris, and talk about how you're able to really maintain not only that human control, but the control of your work in-house for your own firm.
Yeah, thanks, Mac. Obviously, you're preaching to the choir. We've been working with SKJ for over 15 years. It really was a game changer for us. It really allowed us to go up against the big boys and just be able to represent our clients zealously without killing them with legal fees. Small business and medium-sized companies. I'm down here in Florida now, and I've been talking to companies about embracing AI and how it can make life easier for them, make their profit margins greater, but they're still hesitant to reach out to a law firm to get really important legal advice because they don't see themselves as being able to finance that. They think it's too expensive. So I try to tell them AI is great, but when you want legal advice, you're going to need to speak to attorneys, sit down with them, look them in the eye, trust them, and let them give you what you need to know in order to move forward and not get yourself in a jam. And the only way that's going to happen is if they embrace what you and Steve were talking about, which is dealing with an LPO such as SKJ, where the price of legal advice is remarkably less expensive than it is in New York where I practice, or for that matter, anywhere in the United States. So you got to be careful. AI is great, technology is great, but when it comes to staying out of legal trouble, it's all about staying out of trouble. You don't want to wait till you're in trouble and then have to give a huge retainer to a firm to try to dig yourself out of a hole. You want a firm like SKJ to rely on so that you can stay ahead of the curve, avoid the pitfalls, and it's financially it's much more reasonable. So it's from my perspective, it's an easy sell. For some reason, a lot of Americans are hesitant to embrace the LPO. So our job is to try to break down those barriers and for their own good. I mean, we're not making any money out of this. We're trying to convince the business person in New York or across the country to open your mind up and realize that what SKJ offers is something that's only going to benefit them. It's only going to save them money, and they're going to get top-notch legal advice. So what's better than that?
It's super important that purpose of the LPO though, because right now you just mentioned people are going to AI starting to take over even the legal industry. The thing that's going to be the most valuable about, especially an LPO, or we've talked about global capability centers here on this channel as well, is the human touch. Right, that's like a massive, game changer when it comes to taking advantage of the LPO. And I know Sabi, you've talked about this numerous times on this show and other podcasts about that human touch. So if you could just briefly, again, tell our audience again why I think the LPO really distinct value in the marketplace right now, especially for firms in the United States,
Yeah.
for that human touch and that control that you would come to expect when it comes to legal practices in the United States.
Thanks, Mac. What sets SKJ juries apart from the rest of the LPOs is that SKJ juries provides the human touch along with AI support and make it clear to the SME market in the US how the AI can be infused in their operation, in their processes, without their giving in to our demand or giving their control to us. At the same time, we do the back end work for them using AI and human touch. The human touch is very important, as the Chief Justice of India said in one of the seminars he conducted in one of the places in a bar association, that lawyers must know how to use the tool, AI tool, in their profession. AI cannot become a lawyer and cannot give legal advice. It's
Today,
for lawyers to use the AI tool in the best possible manner. So even the Chief Justice of India has advocated for use of AI tools by the lawyers. So in short, I can only say that yes, SK Juris has been in the planet Earth planet for 15 years. Yes, we have been helping the corporations and law firms. Now the time has come that we all pull up our socks and we all work towards AI with a human touch, and that is, I would say, the hallmark of SK Juris.
yeah, thank you, Sabi. And just to kind of point out again, when we're talking about AI, and we're talking about the LPO specifically, the massive value, of course, is the long-term strategic partnership when it comes to an LPO. But when we're just thinking about right around the corner with AI and the disruption there, there's a lot of things to unpack there. And I want to bring Pankaj to your perspective on not just the human touch, but that control element. The more and more that AI is starting to, people are starting to, seek it out for advice. The whole idea behind the LPO having a little more control, not only for yourself and the firm, but for the clients as well. You just speak to that, when it comes to SKJ Juris.
Thank you so much, Mac. I would, kind of extend to what Sabi just mentioned. In SKJ, the resources, the lawyers, Indian lawyers, qualified lawyers who we have are completely techno savvy, and that is something which is very important. In today's world, we've been observing since quite a few years how AI is shaping up in the US legal market. So considering that, what we have done is our resources are, not just providing complete human, manual services, support services to the US law firms, but what we've been doing is we've been providing support to the AI for those law firms. In short, we are also capable of validating the AI results that are generated in any kind of AI solution that the law firm is taking help of. So, for example, let's say if we talk about document review or we talk about immigration support. So what SKJ does is if there is an AI solution that is being used to draft a particular petition in the immigration support, what we believe is, considering our observation in the AI industry right now at this point of time, the accuracy is never 100% in AI. So, as humans, what we do as a support to the law firms is we validate the AI results in the entire drafting process, and we see to it that the accuracy is almost as 100% that is required to file to file before USCIS. So that is what we believe in. So AI will help to generate do the processes faster, but humans in SKJ, what we do is we validate those AI results so that the accuracy can go from maybe 60-70% what AI is doing up to 99% or almost 100%. So this is what we believe in, and this is where we come in for the US law firms and corporations. Mac.
That's massive. Yeah, that's massive, Pankaj, because for people that are looking for an LPO like SKJ Juris, you just said it yourself, is that you have people that are experts for these tools. So, and you have that human element, people that are validating the AI and the output as well. So that's something that you're not going to get from an AI agent. You can set up a whole team of AI agents, and we've seen the success. There's some businesses out there. There's some, potential billion-dollar one-man businesses when it comes to AI agents. But there's that extra value you get when you do put those AI agents within an LPO, like you just explained, Pankaj, that actually have people that know how to control input and output methods within AI. And I think that's a massive, massive value when we talk about this whole thing.
To highlight that on a personal level, Jerry and I started using AI in our legal practice 5 years ago when it first became popular. And to make a long story short, we were lawyers, so we were able to figure out AI was feeding us something that we wanted to hear. It wasn't even real. They gave us a fictional case because they wanted to satisfy the demands that we put on them to provide a certain legal case law that we needed to support our position. They just created it. It was fictional. So, of course, we dug deeper, and we learned that it was actually non-existent. But the business world needs to know that happens more often than not, and you need a firm like SKJ to be looking over your shoulder and say, hold on, wait a second. AI is great, but you got to really be careful in the manner in which you use it.
And I think that that validation is the same way, whether it's in the real world or whether it's in the AI world. I think that's a massive value that you get, with the LPO. And I think, Gary, we started this conversation around, the rising cost of legal fees, and I know that's still a massive pain point, whether it's general counsel or for companies all over the United States. What is it that stands out to you that probably goes beyond? I know legal costs is the massive one, but goes beyond that as far as a value for a firm in the United States that's looking to potentially use an LPO.
Well, I'm going to turn to the great interview that you conducted with Steve Lauer. Steve Lauer is a very seasoned general counsel, corp counsel. Their job is to protect their entity, their whatever their business is, and they need to outsource to law firms, American law firms. Right now, there are law firms that partners are hitting at between $3,000 and $5,000 an hour. Now, that's just outrageously high. Now, if you're in the SME sector, like Gerard McCabe, that also creates a bit of a diversion of legal talent towards those companies that can afford $5,000, $4,000 an hour. Couple that with a lawyer shortage. Couple that with the competition that young lawyers now have going into AI firms to address many of the intellectual property rights that Pankaj is an expert on, and who has in previous RFPs has addressed in his book, which is going to be coming out at the Thinkland Publishing House, will address these really thorny issues and give clients like the client base Gerard has that he provides with his fantastic practice group that deals with market intelligence for the SME sector. See, the problem is when you go to an attorney who's making $5,000 an hour, most of Gerard's client base couldn't even think about that. Now, when you're diverting legal talent to that in an area where there's a lawyer shortage, then that makes it even more difficult because you can't get the legal help. How many times, Gerard, have you heard clients call you up and there's just a limitation on what you can do because there's too many needs and not enough lawyers who are doing this because they're being attracted to these higher paying positions, and that's a fact of life. My experience in when I was listening to that great podcast that you had, and that, by the way, Mac, maybe you can tell we every week MGSN seems to be picking up more and more new followers.
Yeah, it's
They're at
great.
a clip between 10 and 30 new followers a week. So a lot of people who are hearing these RFPs and following these RFPs will say, okay, these are important points that you guys raise on a consistent basis, because that's the teaching methodology that MGSN has as its goal. But you want to just give people just one more brush where they
Yeah.
can get access to this podcast, because I want to comment on that with respect to the book that I'm writing, and also addressing the points that Sabi Pankesh and Gerard have made.
Yeah, thank you for shouting out the community. I mean, we have a very fast growing community on MGSN. So, and that's where you can find all our content, whether that's from Thinklin, SKJ Juris, Till Academy, and of course, the events we throw, which is Thinklin events. Um, First off, go to thinklin.events because we have all the information for upcoming events there, and also our demos there as well. So we filmed a bunch of demos in Pune. They're airing, and you can also find them on thinklin.events. Now, that incredible interview I was able to have with Steve this past week. We'll put the link at the bottom of this video. So it's going to be on YouTube as well. If you go to the MGSN YouTube or SKJ Juris's YouTube, you'll find the interview there. And again, shout out to Steve Lauer because he recently published his latest article on the LPO, and he's got such great insight into the value of the LPO and how many advantages there are, long term, short term, in house, the control you have, the cost benefit you have, the time advantage that you get from the LPO, all those different things that we've talked about over the years. He really is able to package that very well and then unpack that extremely well in that interview. So again, go check that out on YouTube. And just kind of wrap up that conversation there, I would say, for people that are interested in finding more value out, we are going to be throwing demos in the United States. One in Charlotte, potentially a few in Boston and New York as well. So again, go to thinklin.events, show us your interest there. We have a contact sheet where you can get on the waiting list. Reach out to me at Thinklin, and we'll get back to you because right now there's so much value in LPO, and we're also going to be focusing on how much AI is impacting that, and how much the LPO is able to manage that as well. And so it's a really exciting time for everyone out there that's looking to start their own business or own their own business or is dealing with all the ever changing marketplace. So thank you everyone for following along. You can continue to follow along this podcast on MGSN Facebook, on the social media, and then also on YouTube. We're going to be posting these more regularly on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all next week.